All right, so you're considering making that move here to Michigan, and I guarantee the number one question you have right now is, Eric, how much does it actually cost to live in Michigan? Now, you've probably been Googling, coming across some conflicting articles that say Michigan is really expensive, or maybe it's really cheap. Well, I'm here to set the record straight, and in today's video, I'm going to break down some of the more common expenses that you're going to incur living here in Michigan, anything from housing, utilities, health insurance, and everyday expenses that you should probably know about if you're going to become a Michigander. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to be totaling up all of these expenses to give you a good idea of what it's going to cost you on a monthly basis. And hey, if you're new to me and new to my channel, welcome. My name is Eric, and my team and I have helped hundreds of people just like you make that move here to Michigan, and we absolutely love it. You know, when my wife and I moved out to California and then back to Michigan, we moved to an area that neither one of us were from. And I wish I had a channel like this back then to answer some of the more common questions I had, like cost of living, best neighborhoods, and all the things that I cover on this channel. So if you want to know everything there is to know about living here in Metro Detroit, Michigan, then make sure you subscribe and tap that little bell so you're the first to learn every time I come out with a new video just like this, which is every week. Now, before we take a look at the cost of living in Michigan, I think there's one thing that we can all agree on, and this doesn't matter where you're from in the United States. You could be from California, Texas, New York, Florida, I don't care, which is the cost of living has just gone up. And that's a fact. You know, we've seen the grocery prices go up. We've seen gas prices fluctuate. We've seen pretty much everything that we buy on a daily basis go up at least 10%, if not more in some cases. Is Michigan much cheaper than where you're at today? It might be. And I'd love to know where you're watching from, so drop in the comments below where you're watching from. And as we're going through some of these categories, comment below and let me know what you're paying for each of these categories in the state that you live in. All right, so before we dive into the cost of living, I wanted to set the stage and let you know how I modeled these costs. And we're modeling this after a lot of the families that we help move here to Michigan. And that's typically a family of four. You got mom, dad, two kids, and that's more of a nuclear family. And I can speak to this all day long because that's me, my wife, and our two kids. So a lot of these expenses that I'm going over with you will be averages, but I'll also share with you what I'm actually paying. And I'll give you some context to how these costs kind of shake out for me on a monthly basis. So first up on our list are everyday expenses, things like groceries, gas, transportation, everything that we kind of use to get to and from and feed our families. Now, when it comes to the grocery bill, this is a controversial topic for some people because, I've made videos in the past and I've shared what we spend a month on groceries, and people are in the comments like, oh my gosh, like, are you crazy? That is so ridiculously out of control. Other people are like, yeah, that's basically us. Like, we spend that, if not more, on groceries. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. Now, all this depends on how you eat. If you're going out to eat every single day, your budget's going to be crazy. If you're cooking at home and you're making things with organic ingredients, those do have a premium. But what we see on average is a grocery bill somewhere between $600 a month to $1,500 a month. And again, saying $1,500 a month to some people is like, that is Wally World, right? We can't comprehend spending $1,500 a month, but we actually spend more than that. We spend on average probably around $1,700 to $2,000 per month. But we make a lot of meals at home, and we're buying organic, ingredients, grass-fed beef, all, free range chicken, eggs, and all that stuff. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with this, but we try to eat as clean as possible. We try to be as healthy as possible. We make a lot of meals at home, and this is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, we're sending lunches, to the girls' schools, and we're okay spending that much on groceries because we don't actually go out to eat that often. So what we're saving by not going out to eat, we make up for in just the clean ingredients that we're eating. And when it comes to transportation, you got your car payment, you got your gas, and you got your insurance. Now, depending on whether you have one car or two car, this number is going to fluctuate a little bit. But looking at one car specifically, you're going to be paying right around $650. If you're buying a brand new car today, and that's kind of middle of the road. And I don't know if you've been to the dealership to buy a new car or lease a new car, but I don't think you could walk out of the dealership with an SUV or a truck lower than $650. Maybe they got some deals and some things if you got an A plan or somebody, but $650 is kind of on the average range. I know a lot of people who are buying SUVs that, their payment per month is like $1,000 per month, so $650 seems to be a pretty good number. On the gas, you're going to be paying on average, depending on how far you're driving, but a good budget for gas is $250. Right now, the average gallon per gas here in Michigan has been averaging right around 3.11 for the whole year of 2024. And then on car insurance, there are some factors. If you got a bunch of speeding tickets and a bunch of things, your premium's going to go up. But if you got a good driving record, you could expect to pay anywhere from $150 to $200 per month. And do remember, the county and the city that you live in does have an effect on your car insurance, because they look at how likely is that car to be stolen in that county. So if you're insuring your car in Detroit, the premium is going to be much higher than if you're insuring your car in Ann Arbor. So total budget per month for transportation is right around $1,100 per month. Next up, we're going to take a look at the average cost of utilities. Now, this is your gas, electric, your water, your internet, and your phone bill. So all of these things can kind of fluctuate depending on the size house that you have, how much you're using your AC. Are you cranking it down to like 60 degrees in the summertime and then pumping your heat up to 85 like my dad, which I go over his house and I'm like sweating. I'm like, Dad, you got to turn the heat down. It's absolutely boiling in here. But he's, oh, I'm comfortable. So really all depends on those things. But if you're looking at averages, average home here in Michigan, right around 2,200 square feet, it's quintessential, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, maybe a little bit smaller if you're kind of getting into the areas of like Livonia, St. Clair Shores, more of the densely populated Metro Detroit areas. Those are going to be kind of roughly 1,300 square foot ranches. But I would say, these are good for pretty much your standard home in Michigan. Now, for gas and electric, you can expect to pay anywhere from $200 to $500 per month. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be seasonal. So summertime and wintertime, your bills will be higher. And then some of those off months where you're not using as much gas and electricity to heat and cool the home, those are going to be a little bit less expensive. And some of the other expenses that you're going to have, water, average cost is going to be $30 per month. Internet, you can range anywhere from $75 to $200 per month, depending on the speed that you have. And then phone bill, a good average price is right around $115 per month. So the total cost of utilities on the low end could run you right around $420 per month. And on the high end could get up into about $845 per month. And this is pretty accurate. I went back and looked at my utility bill, and on average, I'm paying right around $450 per month for all of these. So next up, we're going to take a look at the healthcare costs here in Michigan. And I found something super interesting. This started to become kind of a trend that I had to kind of dive into a little bit more. And I started seeing a lot of people move from the Midwest, but they were moving to Metro Detroit specifically for accessibility to healthcare. And I got some people that were from northern Michigan that were moving down here, said the same thing. We're getting older, we're getting into the years where we need more healthcare, we need more frequent doctor visits, and they started moving to Southeast Michigan specifically to be in the proximity of some of the healthcare systems that we do have here, which is quite a bit, So I found that super interesting. Might be some of the reasons you're considering moving here, but if not, just know there is no shortage of accessibility to good healthcare here in Southeast Michigan. So when it comes to the cost, I took a look at the family coverage and single coverage. If you are working for a company that is contributing to your healthcare and you do have a benefits plan with them, the average plan for a family is going to run right around $1,200 to $1,800 per month. And what the data shows us is that employers cover about 77% of that plan. So you as the employee will be responsible for the other 23%. So if you do have a plan that's roughly $1,700 a month, you as an employee can expect to pay about $400 per month, and the employer will be paying the $1,300 per month to make up that plan. Now, that's full coverage. Now, if you're single and you don't have any kids to put on the plan, that's going to run you right around $160 per month as a contribution to your healthcare plan. So next up, I'm going to take a look at the taxes here in Michigan. And one of these you might not know about, but you should if you are going to be working and earning an income in the state of Michigan. Now, before I get into that, if you're like me, I'm trying to pay as little taxes as possible. I don't want to give the government any federal taxes. I don't need to. I don't want to give the state any taxes. I don't need to. I also don't want to cheat the tax system, but I want to use it to my benefit. So I've been following Dave McKnight kind of roadmap that he sets out for 0% tax bracket and living in a tax-free world when I get to my retirement years. And if you know who Dave McKnight is, awesome. You're probably on that same trajectory as me. But it was mind-blowing when I really started looking at that because I'm self-employed, bringing in an income and then trying to figure out where all that money goes for my savings, for retirement accounts, for the girls' retirement accounts. I had to figure out how not to give away money that I don't need to, so it's been great. So I'll drop a link down below if you want to take a look at that. But when it comes to the taxes in Michigan, some of the things that you should know about is income tax. And Michigan has an income tax of 4.25%. So if you make $100,000, annually per year, you can expect to pay $4,250 per year in state income tax to the state of Michigan. Now, when it comes to property taxes, this is not something you can try to get rid of. You got to pay the property taxes. This is part of your insurance. But each county and each city is going to have their own property taxes, and you just got to take a look at that. Ask your real estate agent, ask me. I'll go over all this with you, and if you've been working with me, we go over the property taxes and we understand what the taxes are up front, because there's a cap tax and an uncapped tax. And when you purchase a property, those property taxes are going to be uncapped once you purchase it, and they could go up. So what you see on Zillow or Realtor.com or any information, for the property taxes, that could be a very low amount that the people that have been living there for 30 years are paying, because they have just hit that cap every single year. It can't go up higher than what the city, has allowed. So be aware of that. Property taxes can jump when you do purchase it, but on average, in Michigan, right around 1.5% for property taxes. And then sales tax. Sales tax is something that you are going to be paying on goods. Not all food is covered in sales tax, but a lot of things that you buy will have sales tax. And that's a sales tax of 6%. So just make sure you know about these things: the income tax, the property taxes, and the sales tax. And one tip that might be beneficial for you to save a few bucks on your monthly payment when it comes to your mortgage is your property taxes are included in that 99.9% of the time. And what the mortgage company does is they build an escrow account. So if your property taxes are, just say, $1,200 per month, you're going to be paying $100 per month to the city that your property taxes are in, but your mortgage company is going to build an escrow account. So that might be more like $125 or $150 per month that you're paying in to build up those escrow payments, so they don't have any deficit when it comes to paying your property taxes if they do fluctuate. So if you do want to lower your monthly payment, just go direct with your city. Every single city will allow you to pay them direct, and you can just tell your mortgage officer when you're buying the house, hey, I don't want my property taxes included in there. I'll pay those separately. So the next expense that we're going to take a look at, which I think you guys have all been waiting for, and it's one of the largest expenses we have from a cost of living perspective, and that's the housing cost. Now, when it comes to the housing here in Metro Detroit, like, you might have already pulled up on the map and started looking at some real estate and saw, wow, I can get a $50,000 home. I can get a $100,000 home. That sounds amazing. Like, those don't even exist where I live. Although they do exist here in Metro Detroit, I want to pump the brakes here for a second and put a pause to this, because a lot of the families that we do help move here to Michigan, they are looking for good school systems and good lifestyle and quality of life. And although those houses seem cheap, I would encourage you to look at the school ratings in those areas. Look at the school ratings, look at the quality of life. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, right? And this is not me telling you don't move to an area that has a poor school system. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm just telling you, like I would tell my brothers and sisters, like, go check it out, right? Drive through those areas. There's a reason that house is $40,000. The roof's probably caving in, and there's probably 2 or 3 houses, next to it that are the same condition, and those areas are going to take a little bit more time to kind of bounce back and get rebuilt. Or maybe it's just one of those areas that's really never going to rebound. Every major city has those areas. It's not the prettiest thing to talk about, but it's reality. They do exist here in the Metro Detroit area. So make sure you got your head on a swivel, and better yet, reach out to me and I'll point you in the right direction and understand like what it is that you're going for and match you up with the best lifestyle in the best city, here in the Metro Detroit area. Oh, when it does come to housing, in the Metro Detroit area, we're looking at the counties, and I want to give you a good idea of what those prices are, per county. So when we look at Wayne County, the average price of a home is going to run you $247,000. And if you're doing 20% down, that down payment is going to run you $49,000, giving you an average monthly payment of $1,800 per month. Now, if you're moving over to Oakland County, the average price of a home is going to run you right around $487,000. That's a average down payment with 20% of $97,000, which gives you a monthly payment of $3,400 per month. And these monthly payments do include taxes and insurance. It doesn't include PMI. So if you are doing less than 20% down, make sure you add in a little bit extra for PMI. And a good resource for this, if you want to plug in these numbers yourself and play around with it, just Google mortgage calculator on Google. You can pop in the interest rate, which right now it's averaging 7%, which is what these numbers are based off of. And then you can estimate the taxes and your insurance, and that'll spit you out your monthly payments. So you can kind of play around with these numbers and see, do I want to go higher on the purchase price? Are the taxes higher in this area or lower? Depending on that. And then next, we're moving over to Livingston County. The average price of a home is going to run you right around $462,000 per year, with a down payment of $92,000 and an average monthly payment of $3,200. And if you're heading over into Macomb County, that's an average purchase price of $320,000 with a down payment of $64,000 and an average monthly cost of $2,300 per month. And then lastly, we're heading over to Washtenaw County with an average purchase price of $513,000 with a down payment of $102,000 with an average monthly payment of $3,600 per month. Now, these are the major counties in, the Metro Detroit area. Now, there's certain cities, certain areas where you can find more affordable housing or more expensive housing, depending on what you're looking for. So again, and I cannot stress this enough, it really boils down to lifestyle. Metro Detroit's a very large area and a lot of housing options, a lot of, different price points in different cities. But when you go back to lifestyle, you're really going to find your home. And your home is the city, the things that you frequent on a regular basis, just the lifestyle that you really want. Do you want to be near a country club? Do you want to be near parks? Do you want to, live in an area that's very densely populated with trees and lots of nature? All those things are going to be good to know ahead of time so you can understand what areas do I need to focus on. And that's something, again, we'll go over, when you do reach out, we jump on Zoom, we go over what your goals are, from a lifestyle perspective. And you'll hear me say this time and time again, yes, I sell homes because I'm a real estate agent, but I'm really selling lifestyle and helping you find the right lifestyle here in Michigan. All right. So now if we take a look at all these categories and add them up, what are we going to be paying per month? So we had housing and I averaged all the counties that we covered. The average house price of $405,000. The average down payment is going to be $80,900. And then that's going to run you $2,860 per month. Now, everyday expenses like groceries, transportation, gas, insurance, that's going to run you right around $1,100 per month for your transportation and $1,500 per month for your groceries. And so that's going to be roughly $2,600 per month for everyday expenses. And then utilities will run you right around $420 on up to $845 per month. And then health insurance, family of four, you can expect to pay around $400 per month. So we add all of these costs up. We haven't even got into savings, vacations, Christmas presents and birthday presents and, gifting and donations and all the things that we pay for, outside of our everyday living expenses. So if we look at the total cost on the low end of these ranges, that's $5,380 per month. And if we go on the higher end, that's $6,700 per month in living expenses. Now, I am so curious to know, where you're at today. Is this high or is this low compared to where you're living? And if you're moving to Michigan, do you think this is high? Is it low? If you're living here in Michigan, is this about what you pay? Let me know in the comments below, if this is spot on. I'm looking at this, as a family of four, and I'm saying this is pretty accurate. There's things that we do, vacations and things that are not included in here, but from everyday living expenses, this is pretty spot on. And hey, if this video was helpful for you, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know we're doing an awesome job and it spreads it out to more people so more people can view it and more people can learn about living here in Michigan. But until next time, I want you guys to go check out these other videos that are all things living in Michigan. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, tap that little bell so you're the first to learn every time I come out with a new video, and I will see you on the next one.